Now, across in the United States, Kamala Harris, the current vice president and now the Democrat candidate for the presidential election, she's chosen her running mate. And it's a bit of a surprise. Harris has opted for someone as left-wing as she is, or liberal, as the Americans would say, and he is Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, which isn't even a swing state. Walz is from the liberal left, the big government and socially progressive wing of the party. So call it hard left or green left or uber liberal. This Democrat ticket is going to be the most left-leaning in decades, reflecting the sort of values that Kamala Harris has spouted for years.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. and you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke.
Yeah, we've got to be woke and laugh a lot. The big question for the Democrats is whether a woke ticket will actually attract enough mainstream votes, which is why the selection of Walz as a running mate seems pretty odd. He's been governor in Minnesota for 5 years and doesn't have a strong record, but at least he's run a government, which is more than Harris has ever done, of course. Perhaps his age and experience are important for the electoral optics. His state of Minnesota, at least, is in the Midwest, neighbouring some of the swing states. It's where the Black Lives Matter riots began, of course, 4 years ago after the murder of George Floyd by police on a Minneapolis street. And Walz has been criticised for being too slow to bring in the National Guard back then. So he'll be attacked on law and order for sure. The more logical choice would have been Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. His state is so crucial it could well decide the election. So we'll have to speculate about why he wasn't chosen. Many believe it's because he's Jewish and has spoken out in support of Israel, something that hard left Democrats find hard to stomach. Others argue he might be a little too dynamic and could have shown up Harris. Either way, he was happy to host and introduce Harris and Walz in his own state for the Veep announcement. But I want to show you a few clips from that event, and I think they just show you how toxic American politics has become, and also just how little the Democrats have to say. Introducing the ticket, the presidential campaign ticket, Shapiro referenced Walz's assessments of Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance.
Tim Walz, in his beautiful Midwestern, plain-spoken way, he summed up J.D. Vance the best. He's a weirdo.
Really? He's a weirdo, and the crowd chants he's a weirdo and they laugh about it? That's not political debate. That's not policy proposals or political point scoring, is it? That's just abuse. Personal abuse, pure and simple. And when it was time for Walz to speak, he turned his sights on Trump's record as president on law and order.
Violent crime was up under Donald Trump. That's not even counting the crimes he committed.
OK, some reference to issues and facts there, I guess, but still overwhelmingly, that's about abuse. He's talking about violent crimes. It's about abuse and demonising Trump as a criminal, which, of course, is why so many Democrat prosecutors work so hard to prosecute Trump over something, over anything. And then came the Democrats' presidential candidate, riffing again off her previous career as an attorney and prosecutor.
So in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women. Fraudsters who scammed consumers. Cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
She keeps coming out with that line. It's just abuse, though, isn't it? It's just abusing Trump. That's all it is. Now, I don't expect anyone to be shedding a tear for Donald Trump. I don't think anyone should be worried about hurting his feelings. Trump doesn't mind throwing around a bit of ugly personal abuse himself, and I'm certainly no apologist for Trump. But for more than 8 years now, the Democrats have said they claim the high moral ground. So there's 2 points worth making here. The first is about hypocrisy. If the Democrats are going to claim that they stand for better values in politics, for civil debate, for protecting democracy, then they ought to practice what they preach, not just engage in personal abuse and character assassination. Especially after the assassination attempt on Trump, the Democrats were supposed to be talking about lowering the temperature and taking the menace out of public debate. Well, that didn't last too long at all, did it? And second, it's about being smart. It's about adopting an electoral strategy that might work. And the Democrats have been abusing Donald Trump for more than 8 years. Their personal attacks and unrelenting smears didn't stop him being elected in 2016, did they? The attacks probably didn't even hurt him in the 2020 election when his vote went up, but he lost because the Democrat vote went up even higher. And in the 4 years since then, the Democrats' constant abuse hasn't stopped him from winning the nomination again or leading in the polls or seeing off Joe Biden, who's had to withdraw. So if abusing Donald Trump hasn't worked for the Democrats in the past, if it's actually been wind beneath Trump's wings, then maybe they need to find something else to say. By the way, I want to show you the latest Republican ad. And it kind of goes in the opposite direction. It avoids the abrasiveness of Trump by using the words of Ronald Reagan from an old Reagan ad with pictures updated to 2024.
Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? If you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
President Trump. He'll make America great again.
How about that? One more for the Gipper from beyond the grave. Pretty smart ad. Man, wouldn't it be good to get Ronald Reagan back?